Podcast. We're here with none other than the Great Divide today. Awesome to have you guys here.
Thank you guys for coming out.
Thank you guys for taking the time to sit down with us.
Thanks, Jagger and Rhett.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Bam, I like that combo.
Thank you.
He gets Jaeger all the time.
Yeah, I get Jaeger. I get all kinds of different variations.
The Meister.
Everybody, I guess, assumes that my parents were alcoholics, so they want to pronounce it like Jaeger. So, but you guys are playing Tumbleweed tonight.
That's right.
Are you guys excited to be back?
Yeah, it's always, we were just sitting here now in this room that we're sitting in. The first time we played Tumbleweeds was, what, 94?
Probably, right.
Probably. And we played in this little side room.
Yeah.
Is it still Trimmers?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Was it that back then? Or?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. Anyway, we sat up in the corner right over there. And
Did you feel the tremor?
had a flashback,
Yeah.
Because when we started and got our first album, that was in 94. I remember coming out to the main Tumbleweed dance floor and all of us sitting in a circle and hearing it on a big system. That was a big deal for us at the time,
Yeah, man.
So we've gotten a chance to interview a lot of artists over our time doing this podcast. We've done it for over a year now, and we really started doing artists kind of from the beginning, but really starting back up in like February is when we really had a chance to start working out here at the Tumbleweed, getting artists through. And we did Calf Fry, we did Born and Raised a couple weeks back where he sat down there. And it's amazing the amount of people when we ask them the question, like, who are some of your inspirations? And they will say, The Great Divide. That's probably over half.
Oh, definitely over half.
Over half the artists that we've had on.
We're better than 50%.
It just means we're old.
Yeah.
and I mean, and I would say the ones that don't are just people from like Texas, exactly. They don't count.
Hey, I live in Texas.
They haven't learned yet.
Yeah.
Well,
so taking those out, they don't count. So we're closer to 100%.
yeah, exactly.
Very good.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah. So how does it feel to be like, especially for Red Dirt artists today, to be like a band that is looked up to for up and coming artists and even established artists now?
Yeah, it's an honor, and it's a testament to what we as a group accomplished back. It seemed like it was impossible back when we started. Everybody at least around Oklahoma, a lot of the scene was you had to play top 40 country. And we'd try, but we were terrible at it,
Yeah.
Really bad. Really bad.
And we decided early on, if we're going to butcher some songs, they'll be ours. And we did that for a long time.
Still are.
Yeah.
And even
But-
now,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Even now, you guys still have a song on the top Texas country charts, right?
Yeah, and that's thanks to this guy, our newest member, Bryce Conway. He played keys for No Justice, and he'd always hounded us for years to play with us, and we always just said no. No reason.
Yeah, 20 years.
We didn't have
20
a good
years,
reason.
Mike.
Tenacity.
I didn't trust it.
Other than to say no.
It just doesn't feel right.
This doesn't feel right. No, but Bryce came and sat in with us on a New Year's Eve gig. Was it here?
It was here.
It was here. That's
Okay,
right.
Magical Tumbleweeds. He sat in with us, and it was just great. Our old Great Divide records have a lot of B3 organ on them, and that's he plays that on stage. So that brought a lot, and then he pushed us really to get back in the studio and make another record because he wanted to play on a Great Divide record.
It's all selfish.
Tell him
I'm the
your
self-proclaimed.
story.
I am, and always have been, whoever's listening, I am the greatest Great Divide fan. I'm the president of the fan club. Was there a fan club?
You're the fan.
There is now.
No, I always loved the Great Divide. I used to listen to all their CDs. I remember when they got signed with Atlantic and their videos were on CMT. I remember talking to my mother on the phone saying, hey, there's some friends of mine, I met them, and they're going to be big stars one day. Huge stars, and they're on CMT. And so my whole family's just been big Great Divide fans. So to get to play with them was like a huge honor. And back to what Mike was saying, recording a record, I mean, yeah, Let's record a record, guys, come on.
And that
It's funny how it works out though, because that was the push that really got us to do it, and you know, maybe there was some mental block of like, does it, you know, should we make a record? I mean, is it
Can
dumb?
we?
Can we make a record? Yeah. So we're certainly thankful that his tenacity paid off.
I don't even think we even talked about it before Bryce brought it up, have we?
Not really.
No, we recorded a couple, or 3 or 4 new songs for a 25-year record we put out with our kind of greatest hits thing. But, you know, we didn't really play them live, and there wasn't, it just didn't have the cohesiveness that this record does, you know. And that came from all of us getting in the same room, building the song up from the floor up, just playing it with each other in a circle, and just like when we started, you know. When we started in Stillwater, we had one tuner that we would all gather around and just listen to it, try to tune our guitars to. You know, so we started from that very, you know, sad start up to where we got now.
Humble.
Humble, that's what
Humble.
I'm
So
saying.
actually, to watch that recording
No, it was
process
Humble origins. Yeah.
take place at Eric Billigard's studio up in Denton, see the way the Great Divide, you know, Mike wrote all the songs. There's one he wrote with his wife, Chrislyn. And to see JJ and Scotty and Kelly and even myself, the way that the songs evolved, it's pretty cool chemistry to see it take place. And it's like, oh, so that's the magic over the last 30 years.
Well, that's cool. Good way to put it.
Can you talk to us about the very early days? Like you said, it was right here in Stillwater. I want to know, like, as a Great Divide fan myself, I want to know about the origin, you know, how it all came to be.
And go.
Well, I was born January the 30th.
And from the beginning.
How long is this podcast?
We can go as long as you guys want.
Tell them about, this would be different. Tell them about what y'all had going before I met you. And then I'll say how I came into it.
Go ahead, Jay. That's a good one.
Well, so my recollection, and it could be wrong, Scotty, my brother Scott down there, was a firefighter in Stillwater. Okay, now, so a little bit further back, Scotty and I's grandparents were musicians, so we always grew up with the, you know, fiddle and guitar and kind of that aspect of our lives. And Scott was working at the fire department, and he had a friend there, and him and Scotty would play together. And we were having lunch one day at the old school bagel. No, it was New York Bagel, the original New York Bagel downtown. And we ran into an old schoolmate of my brother's, and through the conversation, he was trying to make it as a country singer. And it was, you know, I need a guitar player and a drummer. My brother said, I can play guitar, and my brother plays the drums. And so we went over there and started messing around this guy's garage, and it wasn't good at all. But because of that situation, and everybody in Lincoln, Logan, and Payne County is related to my brother and I.
That was a lot of our crowd.
Built-in audience.
You know, we would have friends come over and just hang out and listen to us play in this guy's garage. And my roommate, who I had just moved out from and got married, came one night, and subsequently this gentleman from Tecumseh, Oklahoma. Now, to back up one more time, Scotty and I knew Kelly through rodeo long before any of this started. But then, so I had this roommate named Donnie Pitchford, and he came over one night and said I needed to meet this guy named Mike McClure.
Yep.
And that's where he comes in.
That's where I step in. When I moved to Stillwater, my first 2 years of college, I went to Seminole Junior College, and then transferred to OSU. And I was looking for an apartment when I first came to town, and this guy goes, "You like Pink Floyd?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I like Pink Floyd." He goes, This apartment up here, they painted the wall from Pink Floyd, the wall. He goes, "You want me to leave it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be cool." And so I rented that place because that was it. And when I moved in, they'd painted over it. So that's, you know, I don't know if he just told everybody something cool was going on.
You never actually saw it.
This guy looks like a Pink Floyd fan.
Screw your discount.
Sight unseen, I move into this wall-less apartment. And then the next morning, the wind shifted, and I realized the swine barn was about 100 yards from me. Yeah. See old, what's those apartments? Wicklow.
They're still
Wicklow,
there.
yeah.
Wicklow Apartments. And so anyway, I'm sitting out playing my guitar. I'm starting to write some songs. I'd written Rather Have Nothing, which was our first song. And I was playing that on my porch, and then I meet this Donnie Pitchford. He's my neighbor, so he goes, "Hey, I got some friends," and he was cool, and we hung out, and he listened to my songs, and we listened to Jerry Jeff Walker and Jimmy Buffett, and I thought he was, older, cool dude, and he said, "I've got some friends that need a guitar player. You want to go?" And I said, "Yeah, why not?" And so that's when I first met these guys, and Wade was singing, right?
Yeah, Wade Tower, yeah.
Wade Tower was singing. I just came to play guitar, and I brought my rig and set up, turned it on. We played one song, and I go, "What do you think?" Scott goes, "You're too loud." I was like, "All right, man, I'll
See you later.
we, yeah, I'm sure I was. Yeah,
It was loud.
yeah, it was loud.
It was a half Marshall stuff.
Yeah, I came from hair metal.
Well, yeah. What do you think about that, man?
Van Halen was my jam. But I played a few gigs with them, and then I decided I don't think this
Not
really
good.
not my thing, and I wanted to write more songs. So when I wanted to record them, I rented a studio in Oklahoma City, and I called JJ because I knew he played drums, and said, "Would you come do this with me?" And this other guy was singing because I didn't want to sing at the time, a kid named Bobby Grace. And we went and recorded a demo, a little cassette of Rather Have Nothing and a couple other songs. And that cassette, this is how long ago it was, the cassette got copied and handed around all their cousins, and that began our fan base. And it's like, oh, we got now these people know, a small group knows these songs, so let's put a band together. And that's how we got started. And here we are.
Wow.
Hey guys, we want to tell you a little bit about Deadwake Archery Innovations. They got all kinds of awesome stuff. They create their very own custom designed CNC milled bows, and they do all kinds of crazy colors with the anodization. And you want to tell them a little bit more?
Yeah, so it is a Oklahoma State graduate. They're in Kansas, Oklahoma is where they're established. They do some great stuff, great killing machines for the water, honestly. And just go check them out. Thank you so much for Deadwake Archery Innovation for sponsoring this podcast.
Hey guys, we want to give a huge shout out to our new sponsor, Red Earth Designs. They made all of these new t-shirts you're seeing. You can find those on social media if you go to our page, Guitars Cowboys Pod. You can click on that, message us, get a shirt, all that good stuff.
They also made these awesome cups for us, guys. They do everything from screen printing, vinyl, laser etching. They will probably even give you a tattoo if you give them enough time. But go check out Phil there in Perry. Great shop. We'll be looking to go there in the future, give you guys kind of a lowdown on their background.
Thank you so much to Red Earth Designs for sponsoring us.
Wow. That's a fantastic story.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So
I'm sure I left out a couple things.
Did you guys have any other names besides the Great Divide that you guys threw around? If so, what are some of those?
I believe y'all were the Payne County Cowboys when I met you.
Is that right? Yeah. Kelly and Scotty played in
Before
a
I
band
came in the
called-
band, they were the Payne County Cowboys.
But-
Kelly was in Brush Creek.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was in the Brush Creek.
Flores brothers.
Yeah.
band. Yeah.
Wyatt Flores' dad.
Really?
Yeah, and Kelly were in a band called Brush Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah. They, we get asked that a lot about how we came up with the name, and I vaguely remember us sitting in a room and writing down a list or something, but I
That was good.
couldn't tell you any of the others on the list
couldn't
and
either.
how we ended up settling on the Great Divide, other than maybe Steve Mishall and that story.
Oh, yeah.
Little rock, little country.
Who thought the Great Divide?
That's why I don't know.
Me, I did, yeah.
JJ did.
I'm tired of laying out there. I'm just going to take it.
JJ came up with everything.
I came up with that, and then
Good
I
job.
wanted to be, I thought, yeah, it was me, again, the good and the bad. We came up with some alternate names, like one of them was Flea Market Mac and the Candleback Cats.
That was gonna be our alter ego band.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was gonna be our Chris Gaines
Yeah.
band.
yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's one of our questions we
Yeah, we I don't know how we do it, but we come up with some way to mention Chris Gaines on almost every podcast.
Beat you to it.
He already did it. Perfect.
Jackie Diamond and the Studs.
You're welcome.
Yeah, everybody wants to do a little something on the side where you're some completely different character.
Jackie Diamond in the full deck.
And the full decks. Jackie Diamond and the half stacks.
So when someone asks you guys like what genre you are, do you tell them red dirt, or is it deeper than that for you?
Yeah, I think so. When Red Dirt existed before we did, there's Tom Skinner, Bob Childers, Jimmy LaFave, Red Dirt Rangers, Medicine Show, and all the people in the area where I moved to were going by calling their music Red Dirt, and we started using it too. I thought it was, I liked what they were doing and the spirit they were doing it in, which was writing good songs with good lyrics and something that means something.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I'm from Northeast Oklahoma, so I always knew of like my dad played your guys' music and stuff, and I knew of Cross Canadian Ragweed and stuff like that, but I didn't really know it was called Red Dirt or anything like that until I got out here. And I've noticed as we've been doing this for like almost a year that a lot of people, even that call themselves Red Dirt, don't exactly know what it is. So we want to do like almost like a documentary type thing. We want to make a video explaining what Red Dirt is and how it came to be. And I think you all are some of the best people to ask about that. So who would you say are people that need to be in that? Like who knows the story on all that?
And it's hard to know.
There's a lot of people that have been in the scene, just like
Yeah.
everybody Mike just named off, but quite a few of those people have passed on since.
Yeah.
You could say Woody Guthrie was Red Dirt music.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess from my perspective, and I think Scotty could see it this way, growing up in this part of the country, particularly in our situation with our grandparents, we grew up on what I probably would have called at that time, cowboy music or Western music. But what always turned us on about the stuff growing up that we just considered was country music was it was more of telling a story about the place that you live, the geographic area that your experiences are in, and it talked about that, whether it be a positive or a negative, like a white man's blues or however you want to look at that. But it didn't really particularly matter if it was swing or if it was more rock and roll. It was just more about the area or the aspect of growing up in this area, this rural area, and about the trials of life and the joys of life growing up in rural America. So I guess that's the best explanation I can give. But I think it's funny too, because when we signed a major record label and they wanted to use the term Red Dirt, that was really a turnoff for a lot of people in a lot of different states because they didn't understand it, like we were isolating ourselves from the rest of the world.
It classified it as regional.
Right.
Like they didn't, it wouldn't appeal to them.
So it's funny to me that, well, not funny, I mean, it's good, that we live in a world now where, and to be frank, when the Great Divide first started out and grew inside the boundaries of Oklahoma and began to venture past that and try to get into markets in Texas, there were places in Texas that would absolutely not let a band from Oklahoma play there. Like, we only let Texas artists play here. And so the Red Dirt wasn't a positive word, so to speak, in the Texas markets. So it's really interesting, and it's a positive thing that we're now to a place where it's grouped as one thing, where it's kind of the two have bled into one. But there's so many similarities between, what the Joey Lees and the Jerry Jeffs and the Robert Earls and guys like that were doing in comparison to the same artists that were coming out of Oklahoma. So it's actually become a real positive thing to be Red Dirt. But in the beginning, it could be dangerous to, when you left Oklahoma, to categorize yourself that way, because it could limit you in the success you might have in a market, you know.
You know, there's bands like Reckless Kelly and Mickey and the Motor Cars, guys from Idaho, but they're red dirt. Their music is what I would consider red dirt music. I know they're out of Texas now, but you know, it just goes to show how broad the effect of the red dirt,
Yeah.
what JJ just described as red dirt music, the experiences, and how it's not necessarily defined by your geographical location, because everybody that grew up in rural America had those same experiences growing up. So I think that's why it has such a wide appeal, because everybody that grew up in the country and in rural communities like Stillwater experienced the same kind of lifestyle.
You
Yeah.
could say that Yesterday Road is the perfect example. So many people from everywhere we've ever played connects to Yesterday Road because they say that was my childhood. Well, they weren't from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
They were doing the same things we were doing,
Yeah.
which is how that song came to be, is just Mike talking about this is what we did growing up, you know. So I think it's more of just a desire to write really quality music and perform it yourself, instead of, you know, necessarily going to a publisher and getting songs and then
Yeah.
recording them with a bunch of people that you don't even know, and there's really no connection to the song. I always thought it was funny when we'd be in Nashville during that time period we were on Atlantic, and you would hear, you know, like a new artist say, you know, so and so Smith wrote this song, and I really connect to it. Like, you don't even know what it's talking about. You're a girl from Cincinnati, like, you know.
Yeah.
What I mean? So
And I agree with that, because I still meet a lot of young artists, if you will, that you ask them what they play, and they say, well, I play red dirt. Well, just because you grew up in
Really?
Tahlequah doesn't mean your set is red dirt, because I'll hire them in or go see them play or something, and they're doing all top 40 country songs.
Yeah.
Back to what Mike said, it's the songwriting, it's the spirit of it, it's the community of it. It's not just because you're from Oklahoma and you're red dirt either. I get what JJ and Scott are saying about the geographical location, but it also is a community and a spirit of the songwriting aspect of it, in my opinion.
And Sherry, I want to say one other thing. That's another thing about the red dirt music community, is it's never felt like a competition. It felt more like, hey, we're all in the same boat, we're in this together. Nobody's out trying to cut somebody else's throat or upstage somebody else. In my experience, at least, it's always been just a community and a brotherhood and sisterhood. You know, everybody's for one another,
Yeah.
not trying to beat you.
Yeah, that, I mean, we've seen a lot of that, and we're not even in the, you know, playing space. But
Yeah.
when we talk to somebody, almost every time they're like, "Oh, you need to check out so and so, or
Yeah.
you need to have so and so on, or whatever."
Yeah. Yeah, everybody runs into each other at different events and on the road and clubs, and you know, it is. That camaraderie is great.
So, who are some of your guys' inspirations growing up that kind of got you where you are now?
Willie Nelson,
Willie Nelson.
number one.
Earl Haggard.
number 2.
Waylon Jennings was a big influence on me. And we all grew up in the 80s, so we listened to
Yeah.
all the hair bands, all the rock and roll.
Eddie Van Halen made me
Right.
want to get an electric guitar.
Yeah.
We're 80s kids, so.
They're red dirt.
Yeah, shred dirt. Yeah, yeah, that's shred dirt.
Well, howdy, folks. Welcome down to Bad Brad's Barbecue. Hey, stop looking at Gus. Stop it. Stop it. All right, folks, you see here, Jagger's trying to throw some cornhole, and he just can't get her done.
I just cannot hit anything today.
I see that, Jagger.
Man, you gotta have some bad brads. Play that crap when you're hungry.
Vernon always coming in clutch with the barbecue. Oh, yeah, look at that bite, folks. All right, Jagger, let's see it. Look at that, right in the hole.
Bad Brads, where you can't help but be good.
Like Jagger said, folks, Bad Brad's Barbecue, where it's good to be bad.
Yeah, that's shred dirt.
I'll say it again. I've always been a Great Divide fan. I've always been a Great Divide fan.
Bryce is riding for the brand every day.
Yeah, he is.
Van Halen's cool. We might play a little Van Halen tonight.
Right.
So what are you guys listening to, like, when you're just driving down the road? Are you listening to anything, or are you listening to...
Hopefully the GCNHM podcast.
Yeah, that's all I listen to every day.
Now, we're
I'm
clipping that.
disappointed that I have to wait for another episode. You know, it's funny. I mean, we all still listen to a lot of stuff we've always listened to. But Mike has turned me on to some stuff that he's heard that I hadn't heard. Kelly's turned me on to some stuff. My kids turned me on to stuff. I've been listening to a lot of Tedeschi Trucks Band. My kids turned me on to that. You know, so obviously we still listen to the old stuff that we grew up on and love, and we still listen to the classic stuff we love, like Willie and Merle. But we always have an ear out to, you know, anything good. And there's a lot of good ones coming up right now.
So what would you guys say? Maybe it's Gannon, maybe it's another artist up and coming. Is there like a smaller artist that you guys listen to that think like they're going to be the next big thing?
I have a mark with Gannon Freeman. We've been watching him. They're definitely up and coming.
Yeah.
In fact, they reached out. They're opening up for. I think they're going on the road with Treaty Oak Revival.
Yep.
Here in the upcoming, and so Gannon actually reached out himself, and he was asking about if the Great Divide's bus would be available to lease if they could use it.
Really?
And you said,
And so
no, it's not.
we talked about it. We said, we help. Yeah, but there's operating costs, and so
Yeah.
we send the operating costs. And he said, "Okay, well, never mind."
I'm working with a guy named Lucas Jagnaw, and probably gonna record with him. And then Mike just finished recording with another guy who's really good.
Yeah, Dallas Burrow. He's out of New Braunfels, Texas.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't produced anything outside of my own in about 3 years. Just kind of got burned out a little, and this guy kept hounding me much like Bryce does. And
I'm gonna start hounding you for things.
no, he just kept talking to me about it, and then I really liked the guy, and then I heard his songs, and I thought, yeah, these are cool. And Dallas Burrow, yeah, the album will be out probably next year sometime.
But
I like the Red Clay Strays. Have you heard of their stuff?
yes,
They're
yes,
really
we have.
good. And the White Lighters open for us, and they knocked me out. Those
Yeah.
guys are really good.
You produced the Down the Hatch album, too, from the Damn Quills, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I love that album. That's one of my favorite albums of all
Yeah,
time.
it's a great one.
What-
Yeah, that was at the Boo Hatch. I lived in Ada, Oklahoma for about 20 years, and that was my old basement studio I had.
What exactly goes into when you say producing, for those who don't know, like exactly what producing an album consists of?
Towards the end of when I was doing a lot of that, I was engineering as well, which is setting up the mics and capturing all that. Producing is more just kind of overseeing everything. Does this song sound good at this tempo? Is this, from some, scrutinizing lyrics and making sure those are great. Of course, sometimes it's get out of the way, like the Damn Quails. They were great. You just recorded it.
Yeah.
It's not like I was orchestrating how those songs are. They were great. They brought them in great. And so that's a lot of producing is knowing when to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Instead of like sometimes producers will have to have their idea, and they'll conform a band to their idea. I want to hear the band's idea first. And that's how I approach it anyway.
Okay.
Sometimes it's good if you're outside the bubble,
Yeah, of a
right.
band.
You're not in that whole, you can see it from a perspective. It's
Yeah.
hard to see it from when you're inside. So you're trying to get them to see it for themselves, and then if they do, then you just leave it alone, But in short, it's to make sure they don't suck.
Yeah. Yeah, and keep the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Because
Keep them focused.
keep them focused. Yeah,
back over
sessions in my basement tend to wander.
I've done
Back-
it. He's
back
had to
in the
get me
wild
focused
days.
in his basement.
I can.
Brian
I can,
White
I was gonna
wandering off
say-
track?
Yeah, I was gonna say I could see Brian definitely wandering off track. Every
Oh,
once
he
in a
was
while.
happy there, and he throwing those axes. I had a lot of trees around there. I'd wake up, it'd be 4 or 5 in the morning, and I'd hear "foom, foom." But yeah, their songs are just fantastic.
Oh.
We were talking to Brian last Friday, and he was like, "Man, you guys got to come out to this to my house." He's like, "I'm setting the bottom floor up to throw axes."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, he loves it. I mean,
Yeah.
he's red dirt success.
When you're not touring, when you're not on the road, what are you guys doing for enjoyment?
Nothing.
Sleeping. Yeah. Sleeping the road off.
What's
you know?
enjoyment?
Sky and I were just talking about coming out and seeing Uncle Lucius next.
Oh,
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. That Rhett had never heard of Uncle Lucius until they scheduled him or scheduled them for next week. And I was kind of looking at him crazy whenever he said that. Like, you've never heard of Uncle Lucius?
Oh, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
There's a junior here at OSU,
Really?
and she's always, Dad, I know the professor knows the Great Divide. Another professor.
Yeah, use that.
My friend's parents, they know the Great Divide.
Does that give me any
They're not
discounts?
getting free tickets.
Well, I tell you, she's got straight A's, man. So something's working.
I go to this place where they inject my back, and I was in there a couple of weeks ago, and they were like, "Can we have tickets to the concert?" And I said, "Do I get free back injections?" You know, like that ain't, no, you don't get free tickets.
Exactly. What does she study here at OSU?
Business.
Business.
Business, yeah.
There you go, Rhett. You got he's an ag business major here,
yeah.
so
Mackenzie. She'll be out here tonight.
awesome.
Keep your eyes peeled, Rhett.
Are you guys OSU fans? I assume.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts about the game tomorrow?
I don't have any.
No comment.
No comment.
Hoping for the best. Hoping for the best.
I just hope both teams have a good time.
I'd say one team's gonna win.
Yeah.
One team's going to win.
Isn't it about having fun, Mike?
I hope both teams have a good time.
Kids be safe out there and have a good
Yeah, and
time.
be kind.
I mean, you know, it'll be fun. I think it's really cool, and something like that's been going on over 100 years, and to get to play the final one in Stillwater, I think is really great for the city and great for the community. It's certainly given us an opportunity to come out here and pull some songs out of the old playbook we haven't played in a while, and kind of do like a
Yeah.
homecoming situation. So
Yeah.
it turned out well for us. No matter who wins tomorrow, we're winning tonight.
There you go.
Right.
Well
We're all
said.
winners here.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there we go.
We're
You know who the
winning
winners are? We are.
tonight.
We're
Yeah.
the winners.
Yeah.
The Great Divide won Bedlam.
That's gonna be the headline whenever
Bedlam
we.
champs.
That's gonna be the title on the video.
TGD 2023 Bedlam champs.
That's what we're gonna put on our video whenever we post it. It's gonna be the Great Divide one Bedlam.
Bedlam
There we
champs.
go, right there.
Bedlam champions. I like that.
Well, on that note, we really appreciate all
Thank
you
you
guys
guys,
coming out,
and
sitting
good luck
down.
to everything.
Means a lot to us. So it's been awesome.
It's
So
awesome
thank you so
that
much.
y'all are doing this.
Yeah, thank you. We'd love to have you on again next time. You
Oh,
guys
no
are through.
way.
No,
Okay,
that's
fine.
It's a one and done. It's strictly
Don't
one
let the dream die out.
All right, thank you
glad
guys
to.
so
Thank
much.
Thanks,
y'all.
man.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys.